Hello everyone, welcome back to Black Cats TV, and we've got a video today about Speakman and KLD, and what do we really think of them? Because this would have been a different video to do 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago. So I'm here with Conrad. How you doing, Conrad?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. So if I'd asked you 2 years ago, what do you think of Speakman? What would have been your answer there straight away?
So 2 years ago, we were just starting out in the championship. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even last year, I don't know.
Last year's one would have been probably a different tale because I think we went through the first year in the championship being like, we had high expectations, even though we just got back into the division. But I don't think any of us had actually thought, oh, God, we're going to get playoffs with this team, especially when a lot of our signings were the same players we had the season before, just signing them permanently, a la Roberts, Clark, and Pritchard, people like that we were just like, right, we'll get hold of them now. I seem to remember quite loudly in that January everyone being very annoyed with them because we didn't sign another striker and we let Sims go back, or they called him back to Everton, and we didn't replace him. Then Stewart went down injured against Fulham.
But they only called him back to Everton to then sell him again. We just wouldn't pay.
Yeah, there's that. Stewart got injured and we basically had to just emergency loan Gelhardt for the season. And everyone at the time was saying, like, we're actually doing well. And if we'd have invested here, this could have actually been us going up and having a good crack at it. I think we got by on team spirit and Diallo and Clark more than anything for the rest of that season. So if you asked me 2 years ago in January, I think everyone was a bit annoyed.
But we've all been saying this model's crap, this model's terrible, this is ridiculous. We need players of experience and stuff like that. But we're coming to the end of that initial time period that they had for this model, and we're top of this championship, 15 games in.
We are.
So
and I think
is it something we should have trusted in from the beginning?
Well, I mean, I don't think so far. You'd have to correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think I've ever really gone, it's not working. I've always been quite happy with it because I always remember where we were.
Well, you did that very quietly when we've all been slagging them off.
I just don't say a lot. I just always say the most obvious fence sitting thing and just sit there, which is, like, if he doesn't invest and we don't go forward, then it's useless. But really, when you look at where we were when he took over and where we are now, you cannot deny that progress.
Got his job in 2020, right?
Yes. One of his first windows is the one we signed Stewart in, I want to say.
Yeah. Stewart for 338,000 euros.
And we sold him for
10 million.
And he's played a matter of 10 minutes. That's right.
What a start off that is. What a start. I mean, how could people not trust him from the beginning? But let me just rattle through the names that people might not know and what Speakman's responsible for getting. Some loans, I know that. But you've got to think of the work it's going to take to attract certain players. Let's start at Ross Stewart and Dennis Serkin, Niall Huggins, Danny Batt, Corey Evans, Jermaine Defoe, Patrick Roberts, Alec Pritchard, Trey Hume, Ahmed Diallo, Jack Clark, Leon Dejaku, Juice Benetti. I still like him. I think he's got potential. Dan Ballard, Joe Bellingham, Mundell, Simon Moore, Chris Meffin, Alan Brown, Wilson Isidore. And there is 20 other names in between each one of them that are like, it didn't work out. It wasn't.
I was going to say, this sounds very like positive. Where's the one? Can you read off some of the ones that didn't work out? Because Jaku didn't work out. So
but what I'm saying is they're all going to have bad ones as well, right? The model is get all these in. And when you look at the finances on them years, I mean, you just have to look at this year. Which I did have in front of me, and now it's disappeared because we're professional.
Well, I remember while you're doing that, I remember the goalkeeper Hoffman. He didn't work out as a
there's going to be flops, but that's the model of getting these youngsters in and some of them coming good, right? But you've got to look at what's come good. So arrivals this season. Spent a total of 5.75 million euros, but there is one in there that they're not sure of any fees, but it's not 100% accurate. This is transfermarket.co.uk. And the market value of them rivals is 27.25 million euros. Yeah. And then we've sold 17.7 million euros worth of players.
15 of that's Clark, though, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. The rest were mostly others were on a free. But what I'm saying is,
it'd be like
when you're spending 5 million euros to get 27 million euros worth of players playing ability, and you're doing it year in, year out, and the values are shooting up like Clark has done, like Patterson's done. I know Patterson came through the youth, but these values are shooting up. It's really good business. And the reason I read out the positive ones is because I think that's what we've got to look at, because we've looked at him negatively for so long. Not many managers would have been able to attract half of them players. Yeah, every manager's got his little black book. You know, Keane's was a cool little black book and stuff like that. But
his was just players he played with at Man United, Ireland, and Celtic. That's all it was.
But you know what I mean? And they're very central like that. But look at the scope of players we've got here. We've got Joe Bellingham, who is now coming good. And look at his brother. You know, we've attracted players like that. He could have carried on at any team, and eventually got to the same sort of level. We've attracted Pritchard and Roberts. Patrick Roberts is worth a lot of money, you know, at one point. He's a very sought after player. We got, I don't want to say it, but we got Defoe back for his second time round. You know, he's managed this pull that we got Amad Diallo, you know, the first time round. The pull he's got, it's got to be worth something, right?
It's certainly doing well. And like I say, I was always just like, it doesn't matter on the individuals. What matters is where we are. And we're not in the depths of League One, you know, struggling to make the playoffs and getting beat away at, you know, Fleetwood Towns and Gillingham's and stuff like that. There now we're knocking on the door of the Premier League, which is where we at least should have been at the sort of bare minimum of my expectations of Sunderland, which should be we are knocking on the door of the Premier League. Yeah, I think we should be an established Premier League team. But if we're here challenging to go into it, that is where I expect us to be at our lowest point. And that's where
2020, 2021. When he came in, the squad value was 11.5 million euros. Yeah. Now it's just past 100 million euros. People saying he's not investing. You know, he might not be coughing up for one big player, but he's building or something.
It's the short-term ones that I think people found difficult. Again, I go back to 2 Januaries ago when we were screaming out, going, oh my God, we're so close to battling these playoff places and that. And actually, if we could get a striker in, you know, now that Stewart's gone down, or even to support Stewart at the time while he was fit, we're really close. We could really challenge here. And we want to see us do it. We're impatient football fans as well, aren't we? We want it now. I want this now.
But I think that's the difference now, because we're at the top of the championship now. I think this January transfer window is going to be different from anything else we've seen.
I think this one's going to be more important than the rest of them. This is the one where, for lack of a better expression, it's bollocks on the table time. Does he want to go up, or does he keep going in the same vein? Because I think we need a couple of additions to really help us in that. I think we need an experienced player, a la who's linked again this week in Jordan Henderson. I think even if he's not a starter, he's just a leader that we need within the whole team, the whole dressing room, someone to get us over the line and, you know, tutor some of the younger players as well, talk to them about their career. Who knows, maybe even become a coach further down the line, move Dodds and Proctor on, you know, if Henderson's got a better...
Yeah, that's the only thing I can't understand. I don't know if Speakman has any say in the staff, but the staff thing's just done my head in.
I think Dodds is a good one for Bellingham. That's how we got Bellingham, is because Dodds was here. And Dodds worked with him at Birmingham, same with Speakman. That really did help. And I think they've even said in the past that Job really found it better when Dodds was here with him. Yeah. Now, when Job eventually moves on, which unless we get promoted and win the Premier League, he's going to, you know, it's a realistic thing to say. You know, Dodds serves his purpose, maybe, unless he's got better and really helping out with, the sort of staff and the players coming through at that point. I can't remember. I've lost my trail of thought from what I was saying
think
before.
Dodds is a good coach, but I just think he needs to not be the assistant manager. You can sometimes see his influence in that side of things.
Yeah, and especially considering how it was ending last season, it's a bit like a lot of us are very... we sort of forgave him for that time, but we didn't forget. So when we see him talking to the breed, going, you're sitting there going, shut up, mate. You took us from 7th to 21st.
He did a number on Leeds, though, didn't he?
Oh, yeah,
he changed the formation.
Did Leeds and West Brom twice within that, but
we'll just put him in charge for Leeds.
Yeah.
Well, when Speakman first took over, to stay on topic, his first interview, I want to read this out, and just to put it in perspective of what their aims were. I've been tasked with delivering the best-in-class player development model from academy through to senior squad, and given a realistic time frame and budget with which to do so. It is an absolute honour to be invited to do at one of England's biggest clubs. The blueprint for the future and ambition to create sustainable structure with clear identity is one I'll work diligently, passionately to bring to fruition for Sunderland fans. I think he's delivered.
Can't say he's not delivering on that.
He's not delivering, yeah. But they're not. Everyone thinks it's all about money, but we're making a loss now compared to when they took over. We're losing money.
Are we?
Yeah, we're operating losses. So in operating profit in 2019 was 11.7 million. 2020, 1.1 million. 2021, minus 8.3. 2022, minus 5.1. 2023, minus 11.6 million. So it's not like they're doing it just for the revenue. And that's what I kind of got the vibe with when Stewart and Meffin were there. It was more about that profit margin in that line to put the value of the club up. I do think they're investing on the pitch. They're just doing it a way around that's built for long-term success.
But one of the biggest things they could probably do to help that, and I know it would come with increased costs as well, but if you get promoted, and even if you come straight back down, you've just pocketed 100 million quid in whatever TV rights it was. I don't think they do the parachute payments as much as they used to, or in the same sort of way anymore. But you've pocketed an absolute shit ton of money. Balanced your books out. You might have sold some of your assets at that point to reinvest some of that money to have another go, and all of a sudden you've still got a large chunk of change kicking about that keeps you going for several years longer. West Brom used to do that all the time. Go up, go down, take a year off, go back up again, and then they'd have a proper go at it because they'd have 2 years worth of finances behind them.
I think they've done this in a way and built a team. You've got to look at the interest we've got from Premier League clubs in our players. And if we can retain these players, I know we let Clark go in the end, but if we can retain these players, or the majority of them, going up there, I don't think it's going to be a case of go up and then battle relegation. I'm thinking Peter Reid days where we shot up and we finished in the top 10, Is it 7th?
Yeah, 7th twice and then 17th and then 20th. I think we would go up and we would finish 15th, 14th. Only because I'm not saying we'd absolutely blitz it and we'd be clear. I think we'd be one of those that are safe by April time. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Mathematically, you would never look really in danger, but you would always think it's still just a couple of losses behind you. Do you know what I mean? And just and go from there. But the players would get better. We'd probably buy some extra, firepower up front as well. But just to go back to you talking about, the finances and the losses, the best way they can do that without promotion is you sell a youth player because he didn't cost you anything. And it's pure, profit, you saw teams doing it this season where they were selling all their young assets to other clubs to try and balance their books out and doing bits and bobs like that. So you think we don't want to sell Rig, but let's say if Rig was sold and you took 25 million for him and a sell-on clause at the next one, that's 25 million they're putting straight in the black on their finances.
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about anything else. They're like, right, that's done. That's sorted. Patterson goes for 10 to 15, let's say, for a keeper, and you
But
sort of
that's
great.
I think that sellout is if we don't go up.
Mm.
I think if we go up, do you not think the squad
If we go
we've
up,
got,
I don't think he'd sell any of them.
Look at the squad we had last season. Very similar players to this season, but look how much they've developed. Look how much Job's come along from last season to this. I think they've built a team.
At the end.
I think they've built a team that they can go straight into the Premier League with. So the injection of TV money and stuff like that could be spent on a single star player, or it could be spent on other things.
Two. Could be spent on two.
And we're still sustainable. And I really do think they've built a squad and they've built a team and built the club based on going up to the Premier League, but not as a one-time ambition. Because, I mean, football manager experience on the game, you could buy lots of players that are really good stats, but they're 30 and 31-year-old and they'll get you promoted. But then the next season, you've got to rebuy them all. Or buy new players or redo the entire squad. Or if you go up by pure chance, but all your team's championship quality, you've still got to invest a lot. And half the time you're buying players of the teams that were getting relegated. So you just end up in a losing battle. I think
at Ipswich Town, though.
Yeah. There's people that break the mold, obviously. But I think...
Well, they're assembling the best championship team there ever is.
Yeah.
But they're ready for next season, though.
Yeah, but I mean, we started this 3 seasons ago, and it's slowly built up and it's improved every single time.
It's like you said, I think their ambition is not just to go up at first opportunity and just run the risk and see what happens. Their ambition is that when we go up, we are up. That's
we're staying up. Yeah,
we're in there now. A bit like when we got in the Championship, our first season, we didn't even look back at the bottom of the table at any point, even into August, September. We weren't looking over our shoulder at any point. We were flirting in the middle a couple of times, a bit like wayward at times, but we never once thought, oh, hang on, we're only a couple of, things away here and there's so-and-so away here. Whereas last season, obviously, things took a bit of a turn management-wise and leadership-wise from the whole team that we did start to think, Christ, we could actually end up going down here. But thankfully, we'd got enough across the line early on that it really didn't matter. But I think in the end, we were only 3 points above the drop zone. Really.
But now we're one of the youngest, most athletic clubs there.
Yeah.
And if we go up, we'll challenge teams like Everton and stuff like that. No
2 years ago, we gave Fulham an absolute run for their money in a great game at their place, and then at our place they came here, thought they were cruising, and we bit back at them twice. We've done that. The Newcastle game I don't count because we had Beale in charge, and Beale thought, do you know what we need to do against one of the highest pressing teams in Europe? Yeah, let's play out from the back with someone who's just come back from his first game and a midfielder in defence. Great.
See, that's what Speakman has to, or Speakman and KLD, and maybe Satori, depending on how much influence he has. That's what they've got to bite the bullet on. The management decisions have been very questionable, and we've got Labrie, and it's worked, and I'm so glad it worked. But if it hadn't, we'd all be fuming because it's another no-name manager that we hadn't heard of, and we need to get a prop. You know what I mean? Luckily, it's worked. The guy's amazing. It's brilliant. It's working. But Beale, what a joke that was. Getting rid of Mowbray without a replacement in line, not taking on managers that we wanted because they wanted to bring staff. The whole management thing, I still think they need to bite the bullet on. That's the only thing that they've got wrong, I think, so far.
They've got it right this time so far with Labrie. 2 Manager of the Month awards in 3 months of the season is always a good indication that he's doing pretty well. And he just, a bit like the Leeds game, we didn't roll over and think, oh, they're better than us, let's just give it. We kept going. Yeah, there's the blip that's been 3 draws on the spin. But I'm pretty confident he'll put it out there. And as one of our commenters said the other day, we're not losing. Whereas previous managers, we would have lost some of these games along the way. And
8 games undefeated. I don't know the stats, but I don't know when the last time was that we were 8 games undefeated.
I don't even think.
I can't remember.
I'd have thought, and this is a complete and utter guess here, it would have been around about the time that we got promoted with Roy Keane.
Possibly.
It wouldn't have been any time in the Premier League that we're
not going to Google that.
Unbeaten.
We're going to leave that to you. Comment below if you know the last time we went 8 games undefeated.
there was a point with Payet where we kept drawing games, if you remember.
Yeah.
Now, it might have been in there somewhere where we...
Payet.
Payet.
Butchering his name.
Payet. Also, actually, maybe Jack Ross, because it took us till the Portsmouth away game for us to lose at the start of League One. I don't know how many games in the season that was. Yeah, they were all 1-1. I would have guessed it would have been back to Roy Keane, but it could be Jack Ross in League One.
Yeah. So KLD, his first ever interview, he also said it's going to be a long-term plan, but I'm happy the fans and club to take this journey together, which hopefully will bring better times for the club. Definitely has. We need to have a structured engagement program with the supporters to communicate what we're trying to do and where we're trying to go, which is something we'll implement now, which they have done. They've been doing them conferences and stuff. So let's round this off on where do you stand? I know you said you weren't like totally out anyway, but on your trust rating for KLD and Speakman, if there was rumours of a takeover bid tomorrow, would you be happy, or would you prefer to keep them now because of what they've done?
Well, I want them to see out what they're starting, because it's obviously doing well enough. If we hadn't have been, promoted, or if we'd gone back down, I think we'd have been like, what are you doing? This model doesn't work. But at no point has it shown any backward steps apart from last season's managerial appointments. So if a takeover came in, I'd be a little bit wary. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Might be an editing point.
No.
I'd be a little bit wary of if someone was coming in just like, I'm just going to plow money into them, and now we go up, which admittedly sounds great at the first, but you're sitting there going, well, hang on. We've had this very careful tactical approach that's been doing us all right. Like, is there a happy medium in there somewhere? I don't just want to go money and do that, because that's how we ended up in quite a lot of problems with Ellis Short.
Yeah, and no offense, look at the other side of the northeast that we don't like and don't talk about. We got all the blood money in the world, and they're still not top of the league or winning it. It doesn't always help.
in fairness to them, which I never like to say anything about them, they're not allowed to spend it.
Yeah.
Like the Premier League were just like, nope, drawbridge up. No one else can do this. Just Man City and Chelsea now. Not allowed to do it anymore. So, which is great. I'm all for it. So there's no reason to then go, actually, let's get an influx of cash, because you can't even do it. When you get to the top level, they've pulled the gate up. You can't do it anyway. It
needed moderating, but since City bought the trophy, it's needed moderating ever since. It's just the way it is. So do we start printing the Trust and Speakman t-shirts?
No, because if you start doing that again, that'll be like the curse right from the beginning. I think you did it for Beerley, won one game.
I was just trying to be optimistic.
Yeah. If it's on a scale of like 1 to 5, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst, I'm sitting at a 4 with them. Do you know what I mean? Like,
okay.
They're not perfect by any means at all. We've seen that with, dressing up your stadium to look like your rivals. We've seen that with not buying a striker when you've given one back, and you sort of think, well, hang on, if he gets injured, we're up shit creek. Oh, he got injured. Great. And then last season's managerial appointments.
Yeah. I'd love to know. It's a shame we're not filming a Netflix documentary because I would love to know how many they've gone for. Jacob mentioned something the other day about putting a bid in for 11 million for a striker. And the question has to be, as hardworking as he is and as good players he has attracted, there's always going to be that issue of trying to attract players to us, right?
Yeah.
So how much of this might not be his fault? It's not a question you have to answer. It's an open-ended thing. It's just, how much of
Devil's
it
advocate.
is his fault at the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, my ratings would be KLD and Satori. I've got 5 out of 5 for me. I think they've both got footballing passion. They both love the club. They both look like they want to do good. Speakman's still a 4. He's gone up from a 1.
Oh, I just counted them all as a 4. They were all a 4, the whole unit.
Yeah, that's fine. But I just had to separate them a bit because I do think KLD's from a football family sort of thing. They've had football ownership, his dad did, and stuff like that. I like that about him, and I think his heart's in the right place. Speakman is a 4, but he did start as a 1 about 2 seasons ago, so he's gone up a lot. Let us know your ratings. If you trust in Speakman, or are you still Speakman out in the comments? I'd like to see what kind of numbers we get on this one.
be good and be interesting. Yeah, I want to see what people think, or if we're still, the wool's over your eyes.
Yeah. Used to fucking delusional.
Yeah, pretty much.
Would you like to sign off and say goodbye?
Yes, thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the new channel that we're on here as well. It really does help us out. We're at what, 580-ish now?
Yeah.
I want to say something like that. So we're doing pretty well. We're trying to get
Dizzy
out
heights,
as regular.
dizzy heights.
Dizzy heights. We're all getting a nosebleed. We're just trying to get as much content out as we can for you, just because we like chatting rubbish, me and Mike.
Yeah, that's it. And we're doing it for us. You guys are just there.
Yeah. We'd be doing this if you weren't here.
Yeah. We do appreciate you. Thanks a lot for being here. Smash the like button, hit the subscribe button. It's all free. There's no membership. There's no money to pay. Just support us by turning up. Thanks again. Bye.